Welcome to another edition of On the Spot. I'm here with Chris Nichols. He's a Turlock realtor. We met on a deal a while back, and he's my guest today on the show. Chris, go and tell about yourself. The floor is yours, and we'll go from there.
Hey, what's up? What's up? I'm Chris Nichols. I've been a real estate broker for the last 22 years now. I've been featured in magazines, different publications, Realtor.com. I was named top 100 across the country, the Wall Street Journal magazine, top 100 in California for real estate. And so I've done I've done I think 1,100 transactions, and so I've done a lot of business. I have done everything from mobile homes to mansions to conservatorships and probates. People are like, what's a conservatorship? You don't see those too often, and that's where a judge will say, hey, this is how it goes, and they take the lead into a sell. Well, this is pretty crazy too. So the market's always changing, and the crazy thing, what I've learned, it's like you're never going to learn this business because it changes all the time. Then you got the news on constantly because we are a direct reflection of the economy and how it feels.
hmm
So that's kind of what I say. So I've been around for a long time, done a lot of deals, keep learning, and I see all these like people come in or that's crushing it like you, Steve. And so it's just like, man, how can I be more like you? You know?
hmm
So, but I've had a great career, I've had a lot of success, and hopefully it continues in that capacity.
Nice. Okay. Well, we pretty much answered my first question, where you thought the real estate market, and gave a little bit of that. But what do you see as far going forward with the market and stuff like that?
Okay, this is really interesting. So I'm gonna hop in the market. Right now, it feels like I was in 2008, and we feel like 2008 all over again. I'm gonna go give a little information on that.
hmm
So everybody remembers '08. That was right start before the drop really started dipping. We're not gonna dip as bad as we did between 62%, not like we did the first time, but this time around we are gonna dip probably 20 to 30%.
hmm
It's not overnight. It's gonna be a 30% drop over probably 4 to 5 years. So that $500,000 house is going to be 350. That $1 million house is going to be 700,000.
Gotcha.
But interest rates are going to play a factor, and let's jump into that. In 2007, 2008, we gave the banks a $700 million bailout. It's called the bailout to the banks.
hmm
36 months later, guess what happened? Properties and prices dropped, and were a direct reflection of what happened. Now, if you fast forward to 2021, we had COVID. We gave 3 times that to the American people. We gave $2 billion. So that's why our inflation's at 2.9%. So when we get this under wraps and we try to drop it down a little bit, our we just came out 2 weeks ago. We're at 2.7. Now, an issue that we're running into, of course, is interest rates. And the chairman of the chairman of the board and Trump, they don't get along too well. So we have Jerome Powell and we got Trump, and they keep bumping heads. Trump's like, get the interest rates lower, get the interest rate low. And Jerome Powell's like, we're still at 2.7. So if you notice, I look at rates every day, and yesterday was the first day that I've seen rates go at 5.99. I saw it for one day, and they're already back at 6. I know it's at a hundredth of the point, but as a consumer, it's so nice to see a 5 in front of something for a change.
Yeah.
But it goes up and down, up and down. So then, like I said, if you fast forward, this time we gave $2 billion to the American people. It's going to take about 36 to 48 months to counteract that.
hmm
And that's what we're seeing. And that's why the slowdown right now is because we are getting back from our 2021 and trying to get inflation under control. Well, with that said, I think that this is the new norm
hmm
where we're trying to find, and we also have tariffs. Tariffs. A lot of develops. A lot of people are kind of waiting on the sidelines. People are like, oh, I'm kind of worried to put my money into anything. I'm going to wait, see what happens. I think the tariffs are a good thing. Short term, they're going to suck. It's going to be hard for a lot of people. But I think what's going to happen is, like if you take Japan, I'm an economist by trade too. So if you take Japan, for example, they make we're in the hole by $100 million. So what's going to happen is like, hey, we're going to tariff you whatever we're getting tariffed, and if we come back and get those even, I'll say, hey, let's just get rid of this. So short term, it's a great it's a great strategy for us to get stuff lower, but it's going to take 6 to 7 months. And if we have that and the tariffs go away on both sides, on the foreign part on our side, and then we lower interest rates, we might see our inflation go down probably about 2%, maybe even 1.9 if this does work. So it's really interesting, and I haven't never seen this. So I'm going to sit back, enjoy the ride, and try to sell some homes in the meantime.
Nice. Good thoughts. Um, Let me ask you this question. What are your or what's a struggle that you had that you went through growing up or in the business or in life that you want to share with us?
That's actually a really good one because um, as a kid, people see like, oh, you get all the deals, you get all the trophies, you're doing all this, and then, but people don't realize what I came from. Man, I was trailer treasure, not
Hmm.
trailer trash. So I came from trailer treasure. So I had two siblings and two parents. I grew up in a small little town called Denair. My grandparents were from Fremont, from the Bay Area. My mom's from the Bay Area. She came out this way, and I'm half Portuguese and half white, right? I'm
Okay.
like a Merle Haggard song.
Okay.
And when my mom married outside of the Portuguese race,
Hmm.
we struggled as kids. And so, but the nice thing, I was as tall as you. So one thing is I love sports. My dad got me in sports and took me all the way through college. And so the struggle would definitely be I grew up super, super poor, which made me hustle in this business today.
Hmm.
And I'm first generation college graduate in my family. And then it's kind of nice too because I've seen like the what education can do, but it's sports what got me there.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah.
so that was a struggle. So I'd definitely say that it was being big helped, but having a life of poverty made me hustle for today.
Good one. Those are good thoughts. You want to share a quote with us that you live by or that you think?
Um, so there's so many quotes, but like I have quotes in my head daily,
Hmm.
and I would say it's who has the pesos gets the say so's.
Okay.
That's my favorite one.
Mm, good one. Good one. Let me ask you this. You have a favorite show on Netflix you watch nowadays or on TV or what do you like watching?
Uh, I would say I'm old soul. My favorite thing, my go to is Jeopardy. As much
Really?
as I can get,
Jeopardy.
it's true.
Wow. Okay.
I'm old, and I like rum raisin ice cream too. So there,
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
old soul. But I would say like the last Netflix show I watched, I really liked. Oh, it was the basketball show. It was
The
like a
Last
basketball where
Dance
she
or
not. Oh, I love the Last Dance. No, it just came out. I think it's called. It was with. Oh gosh, Goldie Hawn's daughter. See, I can't even think of her name right
okay.
now.
Kate Hudson?
Kate Hudson. Yeah,
Okay.
where she plays like an exec. It's supposed to NBA team. It
Okay.
was so funny. I thought it was done really, really well.
Okay.
So, and then when I'm watching something, I try to watch some comedy. So
Okay.
that's about it. Because we're so serious. We're so serious in real estate all the time.
Yeah.
That's why I sponsor a comedy show. So I like live comedy. I like stand up comedy. So trivia comedy and just got to laugh along the way.
Cool. Cool. Let me ask you this. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of basketball? Who's your guys on there?
Jordan, 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 Jordan. So but I'd say the other three I would say I'd have to go Michael Jordan number
Yeah.
one. Two, you gotta give it to LeBron now because his longevity, the way he treats his body. I put him in front of Kobe. I put Kobe number three, Shaq four, Curry as four. Rushmore's four, but five. Then I got to end it with Curry.
Yeah.
I put Shaq in there because they had to change the rules of the game because they didn't have a zone.
Yeah.
Shaq came in. If you're that dominant and you have to change the rules of the game for one player, you got to be on
Yeah.
there.
That's right. He didn't make him go zone and he did
Uh
that.
huh.
Yep. He did.
So if you have to
Yeah.
change the way that the league plays, you got to be on there.
Totally.
He's too dominant. He's so dominant.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So I guess we answered our question. So the go to basketball is Jordan, right? In your opinion?
Oh yeah, go by.
Yeah.
It's not even a mile. So I can say the best analogy I've ever heard putting go. This is gonna sound so bad. So it's gonna be bad, but it's out there. The best thing I've ever heard. All right. So you take Michael, LeBron, and even Kobe. Right. Michael goes to a girl's house 6 times, smashes all 6. LeBron goes to a girl's house 10 times, only smashes four. So that's just like that was. I think Kevin Garnett said that in an interview, and I've always remembered it. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah.
So you gotta give it up to Black Jesus.
Yeah. Cool. So we'll talk a little about your high school or your high school career a little bit. You played, I think, was it, uh, where'd you play at again? And how many points do you think you scored in your career at your high school? And where'd you play in college? If you played in college after that, where'd you after you
Yeah, I
played?
play
Yeah.
college.
So,
Gosh, high school, man, I don't even remember how many points I scored. I was double digits,
yeah.
double double. I think I was like maybe 12, 10 in high school.
Yeah.
And I think I played on my butt more than I actually ran because
Yeah.
I feel like I was like, in hockey, you have the goon.
Yeah.
I always felt like I was like I felt like I was like the Bill Lambier of my team. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you come in the lane, like how we played, you're going to get hit. It was
Yeah.
not this tacky facky, oh, foul.
Yeah.
No, so like if you're going to go in the lane, you're going to get pummeled. And, and the league has become such like a shooter's paradigm now.
Yeah.
It's a shooter's dream league, and
Yeah.
um, but then I'd say probably double double in high school, and then college. I was a JUCO transferred in. I was a JUCO transfer, and then
Where'd you
Merced
play at?
College. My
Where'd you play
first.
at high school and then junior college?
Oh, Turlock High
Yeah.
for basketball.
Okay.
Then Merced, I was a JUCO player, Merced College,
Okay.
and then I played down in San Diego, tore my knee, and finished at Stanislaus.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. Cool. Uh, who was one of the best players you played against, in college or high school or wherever? You know.
Ron Mercer, not a lot of people know who that name is,
Yeah.
but Ron
He
Mercer,
played for the Bulls,
uh,
right?
he
Yeah.
took Jordan's spot.
Yeah.
And so he's in such a big shadow, he got lost.
Yeah.
And so I would say Ron Mercer was probably the guy who I could not stop. He was like, I remember in the things that we went, he was just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this to you, and he's like, I mean, he said some stuff I'm not going to explain on here because it was so bad, but he killed me.
Yeah.
And then I grew up Chuck Hayes. He was a great player
Okay.
too. And then I probably the all around best player I ever played. I did the And One tour in 2001, and Mike Bibby came out, and and then him and Jason Williams were just phenomenal. Jason Williams was now he was white chocolate. He was on a
Yeah.
whole new level.
Yeah. Okay.
So by him.
Cool. Um, so what are your thoughts on March Madness? I know you're doing a bracket. What do you think about that so far, and how your bracket look, stuff like that?
So my bracket gets busted like the first day,
Yeah.
like all the time, like everybody else in the 12 fives. I've been so busy this year,
Yeah.
I've not been on it. But I did watch. I was hoping that UC San Diego got Michigan, but there's no way you're gonna stop Michigan. It's
Yeah.
much of a powerhouse last
Yeah.
night, and then that's all about as much as I've watched because how busy. But I used to coach for years, and this is the first year that I didn't do a bracket.
Oh
So
wow.
I know the basketball god's gonna be mad at me for
Yeah.
that one, being a collegiate player not doing a bracket.
Yeah.
Just it's the market, man. I got to hustle right now.
Yeah. Um,
So,
cool. Something in the pandemic that you didn't do before that is carried over.
oh, I worked out like crazy. So, pre-pandemic, I was 440 pounds. I was a
Wow.
big dude. Yeah, sedentary, sitting down, and then I remember like listening to the news. It's like COVID's killing fat people. I'm like, well, I'm wheezing, putting my shoes on, so I
Yeah.
better make a change.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm like one day I was like, all right, no more bread, no more soda. And I remember I'm like, I was a college athlete. Like, how did I get to this position? I remember a park around my house. I just started just doing one lap, then two laps. Then I got up to doing a half marathon and started doing like, 13, 14 miles a day jogging.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I
this
saw
weight
that.
just
I
fell
saw the
right
story you
off.
were doing on your Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So and so right now and my girl works out so much too, so she's a great inspiration
Hmm.
also. So she's pretty and she's also in real estate with me too, which is kind of fun.
Nice. It's great. Um, what's your dream car out there?
I like I have probably a Porsche Panamera, but I have it. So
Okay.
I got my dream car.
Okay.
So but if I did all over again, I'd probably have to go with like an American Muscle, Chevy's Nova, 70s series stock, double barrel baseline.
Okay.
Those are just phenomenal. So
Okay.
probably that.
Yeah. Cool.
What's yours?
I mean, I like the Hummer. Been a Hummer guy for a while. I just drove the EV car Hummer. That was kind of cool. So yeah,
I saw that yesterday.
I saw those. I just like them how the makeup of them and how they, it's a definitely of a niche, but they have that you can see them on like on the road.
T-style.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, what are your thoughts on the
those are
EV?
cool.
Yeah. But what are your thoughts on the EV car? Have you experienced one? What do you think about
Uh,
them?
so my girl's from Vegas, right? And
Yeah.
so I always think we should get an electric car, but it's like, oh, we got to charge and wait. A 7 hour drive is going to take us
Yeah.
8 hours when we just bus from Stockton an hour. But as far as EVs, I'm like I'm on the fence. I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm good with them, but then again, it's like this is California. If everybody eats V's, they're gonna be brownouts because we just don't have the grid to support all electric yet. So, I would probably much say I'm more of a hybrid guy. Go to
Hmm.
hybrid than EVs once we get the grid in place. So,
Gotcha. Yeah.
neither here nor there.
I feel the same thing too. I think I got experience mine how to go do the charger, and if they don't have the fast chargers, you got to wait, and it's another hour and a half, 2 hours to wait to charge, and then you're stuck. So
Yeah,
totally.
I don't want to be stuck.
Yeah.
I'm used to getting everything. I'm instant. Like now, if I have to wait and if I gotta wait anywhere, if I'm down in Bakersfield just to wait to go to Vegas, I'm gonna
Yeah.
start hating that trip.
Yeah.
So
Hmm. Um, what age would you want to go back in life if you could? What age would you pick?
uh oh, it's so funny because you always think about this. I like be 18 or I would go back till I was like 12 years old and I'd ask my parents to hold me back a year. Like maybe make
Really?
it a deferred player. Yeah. Like make because then I would be 6'5" by the time I'm like 13, just dunking, and I'd have D1
So kind
scholarships
of like
just lined up
reclassing
by high
then,
school.
reclass yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd reclass myself, and
Yeah.
then uh always just like, and then I'd say 20, right
Yeah.
when you start to hit the gym
Hmm.
and doing the whole college thing. I should hit the gym. Should stay in the gym for like a hour longer. Took another 100 shots,
Yeah.
but we say that now. When one was 50, is like if I just would have done this a little bit more.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
the woulda, shoulda, couldas.
Yeah.
So.
What's a favorite field trip you had that sticks out that you did?
Man, this is great. So in college, I took I was going to be a criminal justice major, right? When it changed the world.
Yeah.
Didn't know if I was going to go to law, but I had to go to San Quentin
Oh yeah.
prison,
Yeah.
and then I had to go to Los Banos prison. So
Oh
the
wow.
women's and the men's. And I was like, San Quentin's going to be nuts,
Yeah.
right? So there's level 1 through 4 prisoners there. You get to see the regulations,
Hmm.
and I was like. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I can see, like, I'm a big dude and maybe try correctional officer. Not sure which way I was going to go in life at the time. And then that day, I remember they had to lock down. I was like, why are you locking down? It's like, oh, some 5150 inmate turned around, made feces and put it on his head. And I changed my major the next day. I said,
Oh
I'm not
wow.
doing that. Yeah, so I was out. So it was a good day to go on that field trip. So that changed my
So
life.
how was the
That was
women's
a good
one?
one.
How was that one?
Even crazier.
Yeah.
So even crazier. You have all these girls that are like slapping baloney on the sides of like windows, and they're like, this is what they feed me. This is what they feed me. And then
Oh,
um the women prison is crazier than what San Quentin was at that day.
wow.
Even though it was a level 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think the women are a lot more vocal.
Mm.
And I think that's kind of like, it's like, wait, step back. It's like, and then it's just like, I don't know, they're trying to do a scare straight program
Yeah.
with you there,
Yeah.
but then I see some, it's like, oh, what are you in here for? It's like, oh, I can't give up alcohol. I got, this is my 6th DUI, and the judge threw me in prison. I was like, you should have quit when you're in 5 DUIs in, And she goes, I'm just addicted to it. I can't quit. And so the stories with the women were pretty crazy. So
Okay.
that was pretty interesting.
Cool. Great story. I know the Los Banos had a women's prison, but yeah, good one. Um,
Yeah.
what generation did you grow up in? Do you remember?
Oh, I'm right on the cusp. I'm born in '80, so I'm millennial Z, right
Okay.
there.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm an '80s baby.
Okay. And how you feel about the technology that you had growing up, and then today's technology the kids have it? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. So we had to adapt,
Mm.
it's like remember, like, oh, we had the color max with the gradients and the colors, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and then I feel it's like real estate. It's the same thing. Even now, it's like if you don't adapt yourself into like your Instagram, your videos,
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
podcast,
Yeah.
your if you where what year were you born, Steve?
I've been 85. So.
Okay, so we're 5 years different.
Yeah.
So you were kind of born with it because you came in a little bit after I did. For me, I had to transition myself in. It's just like, Nintendo is still like advanced, I like that's
Yeah.
advanced graphics since
Hmm.
32-bit.
Yeah.
And so the nice thing is I've seen the transition, but the great thing is I know the importance of it too. So I've seen it come in, I've seen it have such a place,
Hmm.
but also being a part where it's still at that cusp where it's like, oh, I have to use it for my generation too, even though I'm on the beginning stages of you guys were born with it, I had to adapt to it.
Hmm.
So, but the differences.
Gotcha. Um, you got a movie you recently watched and liked?
Uh, a movie I've seen that I liked. I'm gonna say, man, I'm trying to think of all the movies that I've seen lately. I would probably have to say I don't remember the last movie I watched. No, I couldn't answer that.
No. I saw Gladiator
A movie
2.
that's
That was good, but have you seen any? No.
I saw Gladiator too, but it didn't stick out to me. I
No.
like the first. I'm an original guy
Okay.
better. I like the first one.
Okay.
So I just watched Shawshank Redemption the other day.
Uh,
Those are the three movies you put on that you always have to watch: the Shawshank
yeah.
Redemption, the first Gladiator, and
Yeah.
Braveheart. If you
Okay.
haven't watched those three movies, you got to reject your man card. That's like your man card privilege.
Okay. Good one. Um,
Yep,
are you Apple or Android guy?
I'm an Apple guy.
Yeah.
Apple everything.
Yeah.
I can see it too because their stock's going way up. I'm like, I'm the reason.
There you go. Um, Let me ask you this. You want to share a tip of the week or business tip or life tip, success tip?
Okay, I'll just do a success tip. I think that's pretty important.
Okay.
Especially in the business that we in any business, the most important thing that you have is the people that you've done business with already.
Yeah.
You know, make sure that you have cheerleaders in place,
Hmm.
and then those cheerleaders in place will give you business for the rest of your life. And so don't turn your back on the people who already know, like, and trust you, because it is so hard to establish a relationship or a working relationship. And then when we do our follow-ups with them, they're so happy to see you.
Yeah.
And I own a property management company too, and so it's kind of fun where I have clients are like, "Oh, Chris, we love that you're doing okay, but we don't want to hear from you because we want to make sure that nothing's wrong." I'm like, "I'm just making sure you guys are good with everything." So it's kind of awesome when you get to build people's portfolios up. And so I would say the success tip is just be thankful for the people who got you there because
Hmm.
that's why you're there.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
yeah,
Good one.
think while you're in place.
Yeah. Good one. Um, who would you want to sit down and eat with, dead or alive? If you had to pick a person, who would it be?
Oh, so this one is kind of easy for me.
Hmm.
So there's three of them for me. So I would say the very first one would be George Washington because he had the foresight and the vision. I
Hmm.
love economics, policy, and government.
Yeah.
So he had the foresight and the vision that still holds truths and values today,
Hmm.
like 200 years later. Talk about a visionary leader. So he's number one. Number two, I'm a Christian, so I'd like to sit down with. Believe it or not, Jesus Christ's uh, earthly parents. I
Hmm.
think what a great conversation because
Yeah.
I don't think it's talked about enough. Is in real estate is loyalty, and the best loyalty story that is not talked about is Matthew the carpenter's his love for his wife there.
Yeah.
When I always think about the stories where the Virgin Mary is walking around,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But here's Matthew, and he's just like, oh, she's pregnant. I didn't do it. I mean, how much loyalty is that?
Hmm.
And that's a beautiful thing. And so that story's not talked about, and so I would just love to sit down and say, hey, what is this? And then and I'd have to pick one female. I would have to do would probably be um oh, I'm probably lose then. A female would probably pick at this point in time would probably be uh FDR's wife.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Eleanor Roosevelt,
Okay.
because she took over the leadership role when FDR was sick a lot,
Yeah.
and gosh, what a great person to interview,
Hmm.
and just knowing like, hey, how did you take on the lead as you were technically the first female president, and you took the lead of everything.
Yeah.
So I think she'd be great to interview.
Okay.
Probably Eleanor
There
Roosevelt.
you go. That's a good one. Um, if you're stuck in an elevator, who would you want to be stuck in an elevator with?
My fiance,
Yeah.
she's stupid hot. So
All right. A good one.
Yeah, she's great. She's got a
Yeah.
great heart too. Better say the part too. She's great in and out.
Okay. What's your favorite sports team and player? Or
Favorite sports team and player?
yeah,
Oh my gosh, I'm a Bay Area fanatic.
yeah,
So growing up, huge Niner fan,
yeah,
and it's got to be Joe Montana
yeah,
all time. But you got to say Tom Brady beat him as the GOAT. But
yeah,
still, to me, it's Montana.
yeah.
I got a heart for Montana.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Good answer.
Hmm.
Um, did you ever watch wrestling? Do you have a favorite wrestler growing up,
Oh,
or
of
yeah,
course,
yeah,
man. I'm a guy. So it's got to be 80s, 90s, man.
yeah,
Hulkamania, Hulk
yeah,
Hogan.
yeah,
So he's old time. He's the old time good guy. Went bad, became good, got even greater.
yeah. Good one. Yeah, he's good. I remember seeing him as a kid. All that. He was good.
Yeah.
What advice would you give yourself at 12 years old?
Listen to your coaches.
Yeah,
Listen to your coaches. I had some really good coaches.
yeah.
A lot of my coaches' kids played like major league. So I had Dan Reichert's dad.
Okay.
Dan Reichert played for the Kansas City Royals. His
Yeah.
dad was my coach.
Okay.
Brad Leslie was my personal baseball coach.
Okay.
He played in the league
Yeah.
forever. And so I was fortunate enough to have some really great coaches that
Yeah.
made it very far.
And there's a couple players that grew up. I mean, I know Aaron Judge from Linden, not too far from you, and then you got
Yep.
Bryce DeChambeau, right? Was close, right? Was out there that way.
Hmm.
Hmm. So
Yeah, we have so many athletes from here. It's
yeah,
it's insane. And Josh Allen is actually right down the street from us.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and I feel like if you look online, like I feel like everybody calls us like corn fed. There's a reason why we're so huge here.
yeah,
Like you'd be honorary. We'd keep you, Steve, because you're gonna be right too. And so I remember my starting five in high school, my sophomore year. These guys, our center was 7'1",
yeah,
and then we had these two guys. There's dad plays on the 49ers, 6'8", 6'9". Ryan Hall was 6'5", and I was 6'6", 6'7".
yeah.
So our starting five, the smallest guy was 6'5" on the
Wow,
team.
that's crazy.
We were huge. We were
That's
huge.
crazy.
So
Um,
so
how long you been a homeowner for? What do you like about living in Turlock, or if it is Turlock, what do you like living about?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Trollocs my hometown.
yeah,
Gosh, I've been a homeowner for since 2006,
yeah.
2007. And then, being in the business, I feel like, okay, if I'm going to sell something, I got to have what I'm selling,
Hmm.
the ins and outs, the insurance, the point. And the bigger is a little different because it's, your entry level there is over $1.5 million,
Yeah.
but I like the affordability, but as far as the town is concerned, Chalk's a great community because I would. It's family friendly. We
Hmm.
have a university right down the street. I sit on the economic board for the city of Turlock. I was a president of Rotary, and what I love about the town is the community and the environment that feeds off of it. And
Hmm.
so you can go down to a restaurant, and the restaurant owners live like 2, 3 houses over from me,
Yeah.
and so there's a good sense of pride and community and a small town feel. And then my girl, she's from Pasadena, La Crescenta, and she goes, "This reminds me of how I grew up."
Hmm.
And you go down La Crescenta, unfortunately it's all under fire now, but
Yeah.
before the fires, you walk down La Crescenta and walk down Sherlock, you can interchange them. It's the same.
Yeah.
So our downtown is very great. We have a lot of businesses that are here, and we have all the advantages of a big town. And then and my girl's family's from Vegas, so it's kind of nice. Every other 2 to 3 weekends, we're in Vegas,
Yeah.
and so we don't stay at the hotels. We get lucky that we're there so often and we frequent it so much that she's getting licensed in both places because there's a lot of people that were going out there.
Cool. Now let me ask you this. What's like the difference between living in like Central Valley and then in the Bay Area, or like kind of where I'm at? What do you see as far as if you're going through or driving through, or is there something that sticks out to you, or kind of, you know?
Well, I mean, I grew up here, so it's home.
Yeah.
But like the difference is the political climate is really different from the Bay Area to
Yeah.
here. This is very conservative.
Hmm.
In the Bay, it's a little bit more liberal, and
Okay.
it's understandable
Yeah.
too because I think here there's a lot more. There's a lot less people, and we have more ag. We're ag based here, and I think in the Bay Area, it's more pushed where you have a lot of social programs that are vital for the community
Yeah.
for just the influx of population you have to serve.
Hmm.
So I think on the bay, it's vital to have that type of portion. And so, like, I would have to say, I do like what some of the administration is doing,
Hmm.
and some I don't like. But
Yeah,
we just have to learn again, have to learn how to adapt, just like our technology.
exactly.
So it's what
Good
it
point.
is.
Good points. Good points. Let me ask you this. So, if you weren't being a realtor, what would you be doing for work right now if you had to do something else? What would you be doing?
So that's funny.
Hmm.
I am a avid piano player, so
Oh
I was
yeah, I've
a
seen that.
professional
Yeah.
piano.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd be playing piano. You don't make any money playing piano, but
Yeah.
that's what I would be doing. I'd be
Yeah.
just traveling and playing.
Okay.
So I've been invited to play on cruise ships. I've played at the White House, played everywhere,
Yeah.
and
You
so it's
played the
kind
White
of fun.
House?
But
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I played in 2021,
Okay.
2022. I played in the
Okay.
White
Did you
House.
meet
Yeah.
the president when you did that or no?
No, Secretary of State at the time.
Okay.
So it
Gotcha.
was their executive piano player was gone, so they're looking to interview
Yeah.
all these
Yeah. Yeah.
piano players, and so I had the invite. But the crazy was it's like a 6 month background check before you can
Wow.
get in there. And I was thinking when I was at DC, I was like, how did cocaine get in the White House? Because there is a drug dog every 3 feet. So it's crazy. And the security is unbelievable, but to go in there and just experience. I mean, that was such a great experience. I loved it. So,
Okay.
yeah, and then, like I love playing in Boston. Like the cool thing about there's pianos just on the street sides of Boston. You just go and you have people around you. So I've been playing since I was 4 years old.
Nice.
So I can tickle the ivories a little bit.
Cool. Um, do you got a favorite video game or board game that you liked or played? Or it could be one or two.
Ah, it's so funny. Video game. Come on, man. I was all Madden
Yeah.
stuff. And then board game. Now it's gotta be Monopoly.
Yeah.
That's what we do real life
Yeah.
now. And then yeah, I would just say probably Madden, video,
Are you
board
still
game,
playing Madden
Monopoly.
or no? Are you still playing or did you stop?
I've not played, like I said, me and my brother play like once a year.
Yeah.
So, and like I pay online 12 months to play my brother once a year now. That's about it. Just go to his house and play.
There
It's
you
probably
go.
a lot cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you have a drink of choice?
So going through my weight loss journey, it was like a 2 liter of Dr. Pepper every day. I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, this isn't good. I'm just gonna lose a foot if I keep this up.
Yeah.
And so I switched to tea. I'm a
Okay.
diet green tea drinker.
Okay.
So
Yeah. What about
yeah, tea.
did you drink alcoholic drinks or is that out of
If my drink of choice would probably be a rum and coke or an
okay.
old fashioned guy.
Cool. All right.
So.
Do you got a guilty pleasure? I know you should probably a couple in there, but what's your guilty pleasure?
My guilty pleasure. So here's a shout out to Tick Pick.
Hmm.
So Tick Pick tickets
Yeah.
is the cheapest place to get tickets. I don't
Okay.
know if you know about that
No.
site. Have you seen that site?
No.
Man, I got Giants tickets for $12 lower section. They don't have any of the servicing fees. And I was like, man, how's this $12 when the people next to me are paying like, $700 for the same ticket? I got it for 12
Yeah.
bucks.
Yeah.
And so I would say sporting events, I try to go, like I see a lot of sporting events too,
Yeah.
and like I'm like, oh, I wonder if Steve's here. I always tell
Yeah.
myself. So I would say I love it, and it's funny. So me and Jen, we've gone to every single sporting event. Like we go to the Warriors game, we go to the Kings games, and the most fun that we have, Niners, Sharks, everything we've gone.
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings is probably the most fun to go to, believe it or not.
Hmm.
The Sacramento Kings, they do such a great job with their fanfare. It feels like it's a production. Where I feel like when you go watch Warriors game, the production is Steph Curry. That's who you're watching,
Yeah.
so it's a lot less there. But I feel like Sacramento is like, oh, you want the experience. So the most fun I have is at a Kings game.
It's kind of like me. Like I've seen Sharks games and basketball games, but I like watching the hockey. I feel it's the way it's put on and the product, and not skating. I feel I can watch it. It's exciting. So I watch hockey
hmm
games and Sharks and kind of like that. So cool. What's your favorite emoji? Got one?
I would probably just say I'm always doing like the prayer hands, probably
Yeah.
trying to close this deal, or
Yeah.
thank goodness the inspection report came out clean.
There you go. That's funny. Um, Let me ask you this: can you nominate someone that'd be on the show that'd be a good guest to be
Yeah.
on here? That'd be a couple people I can reach out to.
Actually, yeah.
Okay.
So one of my best friends is a retired NASCAR
Okay.
spotter. He spotted for Kyle Larson, and
Okay.
so there's only 40 spotters in the world,
Wow.
and yeah, and one lives here in Turlock, and
Yeah.
I liked my uncle is a huge race car fan, and so every year, thanks to Talladega Nights, Will Ferrell, we went to Talladega every year,
Yeah.
and so went to Talladega, came back,
Yeah.
and this one guy started talking. It's like, oh, you're in Alabama. You went to the races this week. I said, oh, I did. I was like, oh, that's cool. I work for NASCAR. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So this whole time, I'm like, oh, what do you do? Put up cones? He's like, oh, something like that. He's like, hey, do you want to go to Arizona? Let's drive down there and I'll see what I do. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna see you put up some cones. I never really asked. I'm like, oh, what do you do for NASCAR? He's like, well, I'm a spotter. He's like, oh, I'm like, what's a spotter do? He's like, the dude in the on the tower that's in the driver's ear? I'm the one talking to him, me and the crew chief. So I'm his eyes and ears because a driver can only see 90, like they're only 20%. So I'm his eyes and ears on the side so he doesn't smash into another car.
Mm.
I said, how did you become a spotter? He's like, I was a really bad NASCAR driver. I said, that's pretty funny. And so one thing led to another. And so with him, I got to meet a lot of famous people on NASCAR.
Yeah.
And so I got to go all the country with him and meet a lot of great people. And there's a lot of NASCAR fans out there. And I think the coolest thing I saw was, Danny Trujillo, Machete, the Mexican dude. He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
He's in this movie called Machete. If you looked up Danny Trujillo, you know
Yeah.
who I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then he's got Selma Hayek tattooed on his chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's in like so many gang prison movies. But anyway, I remember meeting him down in LA, and he's like, hey, big man. He's like, I'm an action star, and I'm only 5'4", so I can't take pictures with you. I said, no problem.
Mm.
So it's pretty funny. But you got to meet a lot of people like that. So I think back to your question, my buddy Chris would be a great guest for you to have because he was in professional sports for a long
Cool.
time.
Yeah. I'll connect with you and try to get his contact. Reach out to him. Get on here.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there something on the bucket list you want to do? I know you.
What's funny is I've never been to Europe, so I think hopefully either maybe this summer I want to check out France.
Mhm.
So I'd like to go to France. I think that's big. And I just want to check out the castles
Yeah.
in Europe.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always wanted to do that. So I guess that's on my bucket
Are,
list.
are are you a castle guy or like the moats or just you like them or what just sticks out to you?
I think it's the history
Yeah.
around it and kind of like the omniscient feeling that you get when like you see a castle. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's and then just the architecture,
Yeah.
these castles were built 300-400 years ago and they're still up.
Yeah.
We we built a house from the 70s and it's crumbling down already. So
I
like
know, right? I
what
know.
do they know?
Yeah. Crazy.
So
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Um, so here's one thing. How do we follow you? How we, be in touch with you and Chris? Got any tags you want to throw out or how to, if you want to connect
Oh
with
yeah,
you
the
and stuff?
easiest thing, yeah, my website has everything. WeHelpEverybody.com.
Okay.
That's easy to remember.
WeHelpEverybody.com. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's it. Yeah, you can connect with me through that way and has all my socials on that.
Okay. Cool.
So,
And then the any realistic questions, reach out to Chris or I or, vice versa. But good having us show all that. And from on the spot, we're out of here.
all right, Steve, it's good
Yep.
seeing you, buddy.
Yep.
Thanks for having me on.
Yep. Cool.